Hey everybody, Chef Joel here again, coming to you from a different part of Camp Huckins. This is the kitchen at my house. Hope you all are doing well and that you got a chance maybe to make some granola and that it was delicious. Today we are going to make some coconut chicken curry, which is something that a poll went out and that was the winner that everyone wanted to cook. The coconut chicken curry is something that we've been making at camp for the last, 3 or 4 years, and it's pretty popular, and it's pretty simple. There's lots of different ways to make chicken curry. This is the one that we came up with to feed a whole bunch of people, and so we're gonna make it exactly like that today. The first thing that we do is have some chicken that's already cooked. So I did this earlier today. The recipe that we sent you calls for 1 pound of chicken breasts and 1 pound of chicken thighs. There were no chicken thighs available, so we went with 2 pounds of chicken breasts. So what I did is I took about a half a cup of olive oil. I did 3 teaspoons of ground turmeric, 2 tablespoons of honey, 4 tablespoons of honey. And we mixed that all together, tossed the chicken with that, threw it in the oven at 400 for about 30 minutes until it was cooked through. And then once it was cool, I diced it up. So this is gonna be the last thing that we add to the curry, but that's something that I've done ahead of time. So what we're going to do is we're gonna get our pan good and hot. My pan is already mostly hot, so we're going to medium, high. And we're gonna put some olive oil in. Maybe another half a cup. Once that gets good and hot, it's just starting to smoke, so I'm gonna add 1 onion. Got 1 onion diced up. And then when I'm sauteing onions, I always add just a little bit of salt. We're gonna add salt maybe 2 or 3 times throughout this, but I always start with a little bit. So we're gonna cook our onions until they get nice and soft. All right, so the onions have been cooking for maybe 3 minutes. They're just starting to get a little golden brown on them, starting to soften up just a little bit. So this is when I'm gonna add my curry powder. So I have curry powder, about 3 tablespoons, 2 to 3 tablespoons. And throw that in there, stir it up, and we're gonna turn that heat down to a lower heat, because we're gonna let this curry powder cook for about 5 minutes. And the reason that we do that is that the longer it kind of toasts in the pan, it takes some of the bitterness away and really kind of develops that flavor that's gonna go throughout the entire thing. So we're just gonna let that go, stir it once in a while, and let that go for about 5 minutes. All right, so it's been about 5 minutes. The curry has been, and the onions have been toasting together. They look pretty good. They smell really good. And I am now going to add some garlic. We're going to about 2 tablespoons of chopped garlic. And we're going to stir that around. Let that cook for about 30 seconds. What I don't want to do is let the garlic brown at all. I just want to toast it a little bit. Turn our heat back up to about medium. And the next thing we're gonna add is some crushed tomatoes. Got about 2 cups of crushed tomatoes. So 2 cups crushed tomatoes. And all the juices from that are going to really kind of deglaze the bottom of that pan and get lots of the good flavor, the curry and the onion flavor right off the bottom of that pan. Stir that all together. This is when it starts smelling really good. So get that all together, and then I'm going to turn that heat down, back down to medium low, and we're just going to let this simmer for about 20 minutes or so. Maybe a little bit less, we'll see, but about 20-25 minutes. I'm just going to put it down. And then this is also when I'm going to add another little pinch of salt. Now we're just going to let that go. We'll be back. Okay, so it's been actually closer to 15 minutes, and if you want to take a look at the tomatoes, they've really kind of cooked down. They have reduced. There's not a whole lot of moisture left in them. Bordering on kind of a paste. And that's really what you're looking for. So I kind of stirred it pretty frequently and kept it on a nice low simmer, and now it's really reduced down, and there's a whole lot of flavor there. So the next thing we're going to do is add 3 cups of coconut milk, which is about 2 13-ounce cans. So we're just going to add that, stir it all together, and then again it's just going to cook for a while. We're going to bring that up to a simmer, and we're going to let that simmer until it's thickened up a little bit, and then we're going to add the chicken. So once this is all stirred together, we're going to turn our heat back to medium low. We're going to let it do its thing, and we'll be back. Okay, so this has been simmering over a medium heat for about 10 or 12 minutes, and I think we've got the right texture that we're looking for. It's thickened up just a little bit. So now is when we're going to add the chicken and just warm the chicken through. But before I do that, I'm just going to give it a little taste to see how the seasoning is. And I'm going to add just a little bit more salt. Maybe 2 pinches of salt. So half a teaspoon or so. Fold the chicken in there. So we're going to get pretty full. This is going to be enough to feed 4 or 5 people, and then still have some left over for another meal. So since the chicken is already cooked, all we're really doing is just making sure that it's warmed through, and then it's going to be ready to eat. In the summertime, I'd probably run out to the herb garden outside the dining hall and get some cilantro or maybe some fresh basil to add to that. We have no herbs growing right now, so we will not add those today. But at camp, we always serve this with basmati rice and some naan bread. The grocery store had no basmati rice, so we have some long grain, just some long grain white rice that we're going to do with this. So, do a little bit of rice. Put the curry on there. This is something that can very easily be made into a vegetarian dish just by adding some chickpeas, some garbanzo beans instead of the chicken. You could add tofu, you could just add a bunch of vegetables. So this is a pretty versatile thing that you can add anything to. Put our naan bread there. Since we don't have any herbs today, I've got some pickled onions and some pickled jalapenos that we had in the fridge, which I think would be really good with this. Add a little bit of heat. And there you go, coconut chicken curry with some naan bread. So there it is, coconut chicken curry with some naan bread and some rice, and I hope this brings you back to Huckins in the summertime for just a little bit, and that you enjoy. Bye.